Rain drizzled across the dimly lit gas station, streaking the concrete like tears from the sky. A lone woman stood beside her car, her jacket soaked, her hands trembling slightly as she filled her tank. She looked ordinary, almost too ordinary to notice, until the sound of laughter shattered the quiet night. 3 men leaned against a pickup truck a few pumps away, their voices rising with arrogance and mockery. "Hey, sweetheart," one of them called out, his tone dripping with condescension. "You need help with that hose. Looks too heavy for you." The woman didn't respond. She just looked up briefly, calm, unreadable, and continued filling her tank. But when one of them walked closer, flicking his cigarette near her car, she finally turned. Her eyes, steady, unwavering, met his, and in that split second something changed. No one at that gas station knew who she was, not yet. But within minutes, the entire place would go silent. And by the time those men realized who they were taunting, it would be far too late. Because the woman they were mocking was the chief of police. The night was cold, the air thick with tension and fumes. Chief Laura Evans had just finished a grueling 14-hour shift. She wasn't in uniform, just a gray hoodie and jeans, trying to blend in and grab some gas before heading home to her teenage daughter Mia. For once, she wanted to feel invisible, not the commanding, composed chief everyone saluted in the morning briefings, not the woman who'd faced shootouts, riots, and politics. Just a tired mother getting through another day. But that night, fate decided otherwise. As Laura filled her car, she noticed the men from the corner of her eye, rough, mid-20s, wearing the kind of confidence that came from thinking the world owed them respect. Their voices got louder, their laughter sharper.
"Hey, lady!"
one of them shouted, swaggering over. "You dropped something." When she turned, she saw nothing on the ground, just his smirk. Laura took a slow breath. "I think you've mistaken me for someone who plays games," she said quietly. The man stepped closer. "Ah, don't be like that. We're just having fun." "Fun," she replied, her tone steady but icy. "That what you call harassing strangers at midnight?" His smirk faded slightly. But before he could answer, his friend, bigger, drunker, joined in, bumping her shoulder. "You talkin' big for a small lady." She didn't flinch. She didn't move. Just looked at him. That look, the kind that saw right through you, unnerved him. Inside the small gas station shop, the cashier hesitated behind the counter, unsure whether to intervene or call someone. But the look on Laura's face said she didn't need rescuing. "Tell you what," the first man said, pulling a mocking grin. "Let's make this easy. You apologize for the attitude, and maybe we won't mess with your car." Laura sighed softly and capped the gas nozzle. "You know," she said, voice quiet but heavy with control, "people like you are the reason laws exist." They laughed again, louder this time. One kicked her car tire. Another stepped right in her path. But then Laura did something unexpected. She reached into her back pocket, slowly, deliberately, and pulled out her wallet. The laughter died when the metallic reflection of a gold badge caught the fluorescent light. "Chief Laura Evans," she said evenly, flipping it open. "City Police. You're both under arrest for harassment, destruction of property, and attempted assault." The men froze. The air seemed to thicken. "You've got to be kidding," one whispered, his voice trembling. "You think I'm kidding," she said, her tone colder now. "You picked the wrong woman tonight." In seconds, her radio buzzed. "Unit 12, this is dispatch. Chief Evans, do you require backup?" The cashier's jaw dropped. The woman he thought was just another tired customer was calling in her own units. "Affirmative," she said calmly. "I've got 3 suspects at the Shell gas station on Pine and 3rd. Attempted harassment, possible intoxication." As the men tried to stammer out excuses, patrol cars rolled in, sirens low, lights flashing. Laura stood quietly beside her car, her expression unreadable. When the officers arrived, she didn't shout. She didn't gloat. She just said, "Treat them fairly. But let them understand, respect is not optional." The youngest officer looked at her with admiration. "Ma'am," he said softly, "you could have called this in from the start." Laura smiled faintly. "Sometimes," she replied, "it takes a moment like this to remind people what integrity looks like." As the men were taken away, one turned back, his voice shaking. "Chief, I didn't know." "That's the point," she said gently. "You never know who you're hurting." The story spread across the small city like wildfire. Police chief confronts harassers at gas station. The headlines read, but for Laura, it wasn't about the headlines. It was about the lesson behind it. A few days later, she stood in her office, looking out the window as her daughter Maya walked in. "Mom," Mia said softly, "everyone at school is talking about you. You were on TV." Laura smiled tiredly. "That wasn't the plan, sweetheart." "But you didn't yell. You didn't hit them. You just stood there." Laura turned, her eyes thoughtful. "Mia, power isn't about who can shout louder. It's about who can stay calm when others lose control. Remember that." Mia nodded slowly. "Did they go to jail?" "For a while," Laura said. "But I hope they learned something from it." And they did. Weeks later, one of the men, Jakey, showed up at the precinct, nervously holding a letter. He asked to see her. Laura agreed. He walked in, eyes low. "Chief Evans," he said quietly, "I came to apologize. That night I thought it was funny. I thought you were just some lady who'd take it. But when I saw the badge, when I realized who you were, I felt small, and I've been thinking about it ever since." Laura studied him for a long moment. "Jake," she said softly, "it's not about who I was, it's about who you were choosing to be. Do you want to change that?" He nodded, eyes moist. "I already did. Got a job at the shelter, helping out. Feels different, you know." For the first time she smiled genuinely. "Good, because real strength isn't in intimidation, it's in redemption." He left that day a different man. That night as Laura drove home again, she stopped at the same gas station. The air smelled of rain again, and the neon sign flickered like before. But this time, a young attendant waved and said with a grin, "Evening, Chief. Want me to fill it up for you?" Laura smiled. "Thanks, but I got it." As the pump clicked and the rain began,